Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Chop Sports Fight Factory presented by Dudes Gourmet Feel Good Factory, coming to you from the Flip It Made Easy studios here in beautiful Matawan, New Jersey.
And of course, broadcasting live and recording right here from the Cabinet Creations Sports Desk.
We got myself, Chris Gucci. I got my boy Casual Dave. I got the Reverend Tommy D. And we got
thank you guys for having me here today.
Wrestling Rob over there in the producer's chair. How we doing, boys?
We're doing good. We're doing good, dude. What a phenomenal weekend. I know we didn't have any UFC to go over, but we have stuff to preview later on. But we didn't need any UFC because WrestleMania delivered on night 1 and night 2. Amazing. Just
my boy
unbelievable.
McAfee showed out. We're going to get into all that. We have a decent amount to go into with the MMA because like Dave mentioned earlier, we do have UFC 273 to break down. But first, bro, back-to-back nights, WrestleMania. It lived up to the billing. I'm not the hugest wrestling fan. I got to admit, though,
heck of a show for you to be on. Then
I had it on in the background, and
okay.
I did, sit down several. Go ahead.
You got to take time out of Baby Day for pro wrestling?
Well, here's the
Baby
thing.
Day was Friday.
I thought it was Saturday.
Baby Day was Friday.
In any event.
Baby Day was Friday, but these listeners don't even know what the fuck Baby Day is.
I was going to say, yeah, you threw Baby Day in there.
Baby Day,
you got to tune into the Daily Show from 11 o'clock Eastern on our YouTube channel.
Plug. Go to Chop Sports Media on YouTube and follow us, subscribe, all that good stuff, and you'll find all about Baby Day. Unfortunately,
I figured I'd help you get it out of the way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
Again, Tommy chiming in with the most useless tidbits of information in the history of mankind, but it's okay. That's what he's stuffed in the corner now for. No, just joking. We got a new set. We have a new set, and I think for anybody that watched last week might have saw Tommy kind of struggling with life for the 45 minutes.
It did. It was very uncomfortable.
We've gotten
Tommy was doing the whole like.
Yeah, we've gotten a few people that have come on the show, the Daily Show, and this one now, where it's just been like the reviews are maybe we should not put somebody.
You know what it is? It's like it's one of those things. Like I don't know what to do with my hands. You know what I mean? And like you just don't know which way to turn or which way to talk. And that's
So yeah, we solved the problem. We got Tommy off in the guest chair. We got producer Rob, Wrestling Rob, over in the producer's chair, and now me and Dave are a little more comfortable, so we could like fist bump and not have to worry about anything.
Like that.
With Tommy D in the middle of us, but. Like I said, loaded weekend. Where do you want to start, bro?
I mean, there's only one place to start when it comes to WrestleMania 38, which went down this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. What?
The beginning?
No. You could start off by talking about the now legend that was made over the weekend, and that's Pat McAfee. Like Pat McAfee literally revolutionized sports entertainment, and he was booked in this role to do his thing. Pat McAfee takes over WrestleMania, and this was night 2, in which, I'll throw it to you guys. I mean, we've obviously both watched night 1 and night 2, and night 2 was there was a lot to live up to because night 1 was an absolute banger, and we'll go through like what we thought stood out. But Pat McAfee is the one who's stealing the headlines right now because of his match with Austin Theory, and of course, you said it last week that McMahon was going to be involved in some way, shape, or form, Tommy, and that was a good call because he was.
It was a foregone conclusion. Now, the ending, I didn't think was going to happen. That was Rob. When we were sitting here, he asked, do you think Stone Cold comes out for night 2?
And I was convinced that
he was going to.
No way.
The match that he had with Owens the night before, I think he was just going to sit at home, collect his check, have some nice beers.
Right.
But no, he comes back out. It was a great night. I got to ask you, and maybe Rob. Was that
maybe Rob? Not definitely Rob. Maybe
because
Rob.
Maybe Rob would know too.
Okay.
Has there ever been a superstar ever that has gone from the floor to the top turnbuckle in one jump like Pat McAfee did last night?
What do you mean? Like from the mat? You mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I've seen it, but like what?
I've never seen that before.
But here's
not
the
an
thing.
American anyway.
Well, yeah, no, definitely in America. But like the fact that he did it and the fact that the way he did it. It's like it shows athleticism that you just didn't know. You knew he had it, but you didn't know he was going to deliver it like he did because that was beyond incredible athleticism. And Pat McAfee, like I said, steals the show. And I completely, wholeheartedly think that Pat McAfee was the secret that pro wrestling had and didn't know they had it. Like the fact that marriage between McAfee and pro wrestling will forever be something that I think we could all get behind.
I asked this question about the McAfee wrestling situation. Obviously, the dude's got crazy mic skills. He's one of the best sports analysts / YouTubers on the planet right now.
100%.
And clearly he worked the mic for the entire day 1 of WrestleMania. And I would say 3/4 of day
He
two.
literally got up 2 matches before his and
Right?
left to go get ready.
So let's
And when I
just
say go get ready, if you see it in the graphic, that's literally what he wears every day anyway. So it's like his get ready gear.
Let's just say McAfee was like, fuck this. I'm going to be full-time WWE superstar. What do you think he could actually bring to the table? Like this dude you think he could hoist the world championship one day? Is he that good?
I don't think he's that guy. I don't think he's that. I don't know. Like he is who he is. Like people know him as the former punter in the NFL. He's not a professional wrestler, but he went out there and fought, you know what I mean? And did his thing and played with Austin Theory for 20 minutes and made sure that he got everything that he needed to get in and showed amazing athleticism. And I think that he is who he is. And he would never, I don't think he would ever leave his full-time gig to go
I guess the good
professional
point
wrestling.
here is that if he didn't have the following he had because of his YouTube show, then he wouldn't have been able to ignite the crowd the way he did. I think it goes hand in hand. So I guess I answered my own question there.
But me and Rob, when we were sitting here watching it at the studio, Rob, I mean, you could tell like McMahon had a front row seat for that, bro. Like he heard the 7 Nation Army, he heard the da, 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 and the whole crowd's doing it for like 20 minutes straight, dude.
It was like I've never seen nothing like that before, just specifically with them. And for Vince to be sitting there and for Pat to be doing that. And as far as the move, he's definitely done that with Adam Cole before.
So if you saw the Cole match, Tommy, he's done that.
I remember the Cole match vaguely. I don't remember him doing that.
Yeah.
He dude, it was crazy. And for him just to be out there again at the end of the night, and then Austin comes out and he gets stunned, and then he's drinking beer again to be passed out. We were like 14-year-old kids again, right?
Dude,
sitting here in front of the TV.
Unfortunately, he caught me like dude, we both stood up simultaneously. Like when
Great Twitter video, by the way.
Yeah, well, what?
Or Instagram
video. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like he literally caught me in the act of being a supermark, you know, basically being what Tommy is every day. I turned into for like 1 minute. But like we saw it coming, we felt it. I stood up. This guy was like, all right, perfect opportunity because Dave's about to lose his shit if Stone Cold, for whatever reason, comes out. He comes out, blah, blah, blah. But McAfee absolutely delivers. And again, like I can't say enough about the guy. He's somebody I strive to be, honestly. Like why do you think I take on the AAA commentary roles? Why do you think I continue to do WrestlePro? Like I love professional wrestling and I love doing this. If I can do both, like what a bonus life you're living. Like, and he's doing it to the umpth degree because he's a fucking millionaire. So he's made it.
It helps to be an ex-NFL player who retired early enough, whose brains.
He retired at 29, man. Like that's like hats off to him.
And also he was a punter. So it wasn't like he was really at risk of getting
But
brain
guess
damage.
what? Now he's going to be the most recognizable punter ever.
Right.
Well, I mean, he already was.
I think he
He's
already
gonna be
was.
even more now because it's a whole different demographic of people.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. So McAfee gets it done, and it was incredible to see. Before we roll off, I guess what we can do is a little bit of a roundtable discussion here. Tommy, like obviously we have all these graphics made and stuff that we want to talk about in specific matches, but like, is there anything that stands out besides the McAfee stuff that's not listed? And when I say listed, we're going to cover Owens and Austin. We're going to cover Rollins, Styles, like all these guys. Like, is there anything under the radar that you felt like, holy shit?
It's amazing. All the championships that were getting tossed around this weekend, and not one of them was for Dallas in their own home stadium.
Wow.
I'm sorry. No, I had to.
He just. Wow.
I had to go there.
You know what's funny? I did see a funny joke, and like yours obviously wasn't funny. But what I did see a joke saying that the WWE brought more talent into the Star training facility than the Cowboys did in the offseason as far as like free agent visits and whatever. So that, like that's very funny. But yeah,
if I'm being honest, that's also a reach. It's like,
no, what stood out to me, honestly, and this was it was great watching it here. Johnny Knoxville, Sami Zayn.
Dude, like when that match started off, I was like, this is gonna suck. I was like, what could this guy possibly pull out of his ass? Like I literally and figuratively, you know what I mean? Like
mousetrap.
Yeah. Like,
I'm gonna be honest.
I'm
gonna be honest. I was just like, dude, give it a break, Johnny. You're 58. You know, like
you didn't like this?
I'm just saying, like it was, I guess, entertaining, but I felt like I was in like '94 again.
Well,
it was Johnny Knoxville taking a beating. We don't even see that anymore.
The best
dude.
memes,
you're old.
the memes I saw was like, if pro wrestling's fake, explain this. And it's like you see Johnny Knoxville trapped under a life-size mousetrap. Dude, the slap the open hand slap thing. Did you
didn't
see all the
Wee
memes
Man-
about Mark
you didn't
Henry?
see Wee Man body slamming
Wee
Sami
Man.
Zayn?
Body slams, bro.
Yeah,
Did
well,
he come out dressed as Doink?
That would be dink.
that would be dink.
And no, but
It's not
dude,
that impressive because
Chris
ants
Pontius,
can lift
party boy,
50%
bro?
to their body weight. So Wee Man just proved it. They could lift 50 times. their
Tommy
body
is
weight.
like, I'll give you a foul tip on that one. You're not out just yet, but that was like, that was pretty much strike 3, right? But we're gonna the catcher dropped.
Like
The
this,
catcher
like,
dropped it
punched
on
him
that
out.
one.
Yeah,
Tommy's
no,
like,
that's-
God damn it, I'm gonna fuck Chris up after this show.
Yeah,
It worked last night, apparently.
It did. It was funny. It was a funny joke last night.
What joke? Oh, I wasn't here last night.
Oh, that's right. You did leave. You did leave.
Oh, okay.
Because to continue baby day, like you were saying before. See how that all ties in together? All right. Anyway, so McAfee Mania takes over. Amazing. Rob, what stood out to you besides the Johnny Knoxville thing that he just brought up?
I'm gonna say probably the Arcade Bro match, like that.
Yes.
They
Yeah, another
kicked off the night,
Yes.
and it was crazy because when we started watching, I'm like, bro, how do they beat night 1? There's no way. There's no way. It's not gonna come close.
Oh, I love.
And then they start that match, and it's like, whoa!
Yeah.
All right, well, we're in here now. Let's go. We're
Yeah.
along for the ride.
I loved it. I loved every second
So
of that.
I know I love when I get a chance to say something on this wrestling roundtable, and I'm the one that knows the least, but I think I bring up the most prevalent bit of information sometimes. And this isn't nothing to do with Mania. It has a lot to do with WrestleMania weekend. But I think the biggest takeaway from this weekend was the Undertaker's speech on Friday night,
That was
which
incredible.
we were not able to talk about last week.
45 minutes. I think he went up for an
man.
hour. An hour of just straight.
I'll be here all day, guys.
Yeah. With a
That was a
huge
fucking home run.
huge information there. But yeah, that was incredible. Like he basically took you down memory lane. He took you down like just learning life lessons along the road. Like remember, WCW tried to get rid of this guy and said like, you're not going to draw anything, so we don't need you. Right. And then it was Bruce Pritchard and Vince McMahon and everybody collectively saying, no, we got this other character. We think you might be good at it. Let's give it a shot. And then 30 something years later, you have the Hall of Famer known as The Undertaker. Like, I think it was just the speech itself was incredible. The two and of course, the never say never. You know, you're like, oh, great. Now what? Now, when's he going to come out now?
Tomorrow.
Yeah, tonight. Dude, there could be so many things that go down. And as we record this and release this on our YouTube channel, you know, Raw, Monday night WrestleMania Raw will be gone already. So, like, anything that's surprising, we could throw it up on our socials, I guess. But, like, overall, like, the biggest Raw of the year happens as we record this tonight. So we're excited about
So
that.
I have a question, though, about these guys that retire in like a Stone Cold situation, for example. Maybe you guys could shed some light. I would imagine Stone Cold got a boatload of money for doing what he did this past weekend.
Like, just
Well, yeah, I mean,
filthy
it's
money.
been 19 years since he's been in there, so yeah.
Well, that's my point. So
And with
even
all
if-
the injuries and
look,
shit.
let's be fair. If Undertaker retired and then a year and a half from now, which he did retire, he's a Hall of Famer, all that good stuff. In a year and a half from now, he decides he wants to come and kick the tires on a WrestleMania again. I feel like when you say never in wrestling, it's almost guaranteed that you're going to see some more of these guys because the payday is too big. How could you be Undertaker at this point and be like, oh, you know, in 2 years, I'll go out there and give a speech or do what
And
I
you
gotta do.
Rob brought this up a couple weeks ago with the Saudi Arabia money. Like those guys are filthy rich, and they just like.
And if
listen,
they're gonna bring WWE overseas like that, like they want to pay for the Undertaker, they want to pay for Stone
this
Cold.
is
they
why
do once a
Goldberg
year.
went over there.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
yeah.
They do
That's
once
exactly
a year,
what
the
it
Crown
was.
Jewel event.
Can I be honest? And this is full disclosure. When we were talking about this last week, and you were talking about that Saudi money, I fully expected WrestleMania to be in Abu Dhabi this weekend. And when I'm watching it, remember I said it during the
Oh.
draft. I was like, "Is this in Abu Dhabi?"
Is
Like,
it out of
those
the
look
realm of
awful-
possibilities?
they
Probably
look an
not.
awful lot like Texans.
Yeah.
I don't think that guy is from Abu Dhabi.
Vince would never do WrestleMania anywhere else other than here.
Other than America.
Well, no, it makes sense, obviously, because
Yeah, no,
like
listen.
how much issues.
But it's
going
funny
through
though
traveling.
because people from around the world all come in for WrestleMania weekend. Like,
Right.
It's insane.
I'm kind of curious to know how many people would travel abroad to go to a WrestleMania.
Yeah, that's a tough trip, man. Abu Dhabi's an expensive place to go.
I'm even talking like when they did SummerSlam at Wembley, you know, like that was a packed crowd. And I wonder how many WWE fans from the US went to England to go listen or watch British Bulldog and
Probably
Bret Hart.
some, but not much. I mean, that's a tough. There's a lot of events. Like
you
they're
know
giving
what?
it to the people
WrestleMania
over there.
weekend brings WrestleMania weekend is like Comic-Con.
It is.
Wherever
It was
is,
wrestling-
people
WrestleCon.
flock
But
there.
SummerSlam and WrestleMania are two different things. You just said they'll never do it overseas for WrestleMania. SummerSlam, you know, I guess it's obviously a big event. I'm lost on how big
What
in
are the
terms
big
of
four?
the pecking order, but I don't know, man. Like, it's an expensive trip. If you're gonna have WrestleMania or SummerSlam overseas, the tickets alone are gonna be so crazy because all the fans there's a high demand.
Right.
So you're gonna take all that. You have to be rich. That's the only way.
Okay. Rich it is.
Right.
Yeah. So speaking of Stone Cold Steve Austin, we'll bring up his match next. And that was obviously what it capped night one, and that's Austin versus Kevin Owens, in which it was pretty much like immediately released by Owens saying like, "Hey man, I lied to you. I don't want to sit down and have a talk. I actually want to fight." And I was just like, here we go. Here we go. Let's see what happens here. And I'm thinking, you just knew something was up when Austin came out with the knee braces and shit. Like,
his entire ring gear,
right? His whole ring gear. And I was like,
jorts.
you know what? This is not going to be a talk show. You know what I mean? And then get me out a referee, and out comes the tannest ref I've ever seen in my life. And there it was.
Do you think Owens fucked up his promo a little bit when he was talking? He was like listing all Stone Cold's injuries, and it was almost like he was diminishing the fact that he called him out. He was like, "You got a bad neck." He's like, "But other than that, you're fine."
I think that was him being a dick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
See, like I took it almost like he was doing his promo and listing all the bad shit and then as he was saying it, he was like basically diminishing the guy that he was about to call out. So it's like you're calling out a cripple. Essentially.
I see what you mean.
Did you notice that Peacock stopped bleeping out stuff once Stone Cold got out there? Because he said asshole, no bleep. He said shit.
It's that sack of shit. Yeah.
Sack of
I mean,
shit,
it's a
no
pay-per-view.
Peacock. It's
a pay-per-view.
Peacock,
Yeah,
too.
you
Like, they
should.
can-
That's cable.
This
It's
is not.
NBC.
Because they bleep everything else.
It ain't USA. It
Yeah,
ain't
but
cable TV.
Peacock bleeps everything else.
They bleep everything
Really?
else on what? On every show of every
It
channel.
was a live show.
all WWE stuff, like their pay-per-views, even the old ones.
Really?
All the
Really?
old stuff they
See,
bleep
that's
I'm very
out.
surprised.
That's
at that.
alarming.
I'm very surprised. at
That's
that.
why a
Doesn't
lot
make
of
much
fans
sense.
had a big problem with it going over to Peacock because it cut out a lot of stuff because they're, family.
Well,
What,
either way,
they're not
nonetheless,
family?
they stopped bleeping out Stone Cold smashing beers over 11 dudes laying dead in the middle of the
But
ring.
anyway, yeah. So Stone Cold has his moment. He beats the shit out of Kevin Owens. Owens gets on him a little bit, but just like I expected. I honestly thought that after the first couple stomps, I was like, I think Austin's gassed already. Like they looked like it was
He
slow,
looked tired.
right?
He
And I was
looked
like,
tired.
is he like? Is he?
He was gassed. Are you kidding
I don't
me?
know, man. At the end, he looked like he was still going. Like
He was
just going and
gassed
going.
after those punches. Once he got him in the corner, you could tell like he wanted to
It
go
was. I think it was like a little
There's
bit more of a
doubt about
shock.
it.
Like,
There's no doubt about it
okay,
that he was
wow.
hammered.
You know,
First
like-
of all, he got like 40 beers thrown to him throughout. I know that Stone Cold's thing is
he
the beer, but
barely
wasn't that
takes those
excessive?
beers.
There was a lot,
It wasn't.
right?
It was
It was a
very
lot.
excessive.
and
And shout out to Rob. We have Stone Cold's beers in the fridge.
I saw that in there.
So we're definitely. I'm gonna
surprised
definitely
your fucking
indulge.
Drunk ass isn't drinking one by now.
No,
No,
Are you
not
sorry
today.
You don't drink?
no, I do, but I didn't have one last night, and I didn't feel it would be right for me to just go in there and grab one. since I
That's
didn't
very
drink it.
admirable of you, because I would have probably slapped it right out of your hand, kind of like shush. And he's with Gabe Stevens.
You remember what happened to him, right?
Yeah, dude. Yeah. All right. Good luck. That was another great, like, dude, the Gabe Stevenson thing, Steveson, sorry. That's another thing that he's being pushed to the moon. I just hope they don't force feed him down everybody's throat. Like we saw him twice, back-to-back nights. They had him in the ring now to try to do a celebratory drink, and he does the whole belly-to-belly suplex on Chad Gable, and which is just weird how it's like Gable, Stevenson,
thought that
but
was
it's like
almost
Chad
like
Gable.
that Dan
Purpose,
Gable's son?
done purposely. I don't think so.
I don't know,
But
but
they have to be playing on the Gable name a little bit. Have to be.
possibly. I don't know. But anyway, so that's Stone Cold Steve Austin, and Kevin Owens. They deliver. It was a lot of fun the entire
Would you
time.
agree that it was the right decision making it a falls count anywhere, just hardcore
Yeah,
match?
of course, because then you can do anything you want.
Because I really don't think Stone Cold could do a Luthez press anymore.
Somebody texted me. I think it was Scoop who
Is
texted
that
me.
a
He's like,
word?
"What?"
What is that?
Luthez press.
Luthez press is when he like runs.
I thought you
and he, like,
stroke. Talk
pounces
about
him.
having a stroke. I thought you had a stroke.
Yeah, Luthez press.
What the fuck is that?
Yeah. So anyway, so great match.
Before we come off the Stone Cold thing, though, I feel like it would be we talked about McAfee, right? We talked about Stone Cold, and they each had their match respectively. But the thing that I saw was when Stone Cold came out with McAfee. That was
was
the entire show to me. The sell on the stunner, right?
Oh, his cell was just like.
It was just like The Rock.
It goes right off.
It was when The Rock took it after drinking a beer. It was
like
it was great.
McAfee's
like
the man. The way he's the fountain of beer coming out, and Stone Cold. You could say that they fed off each other, which they did.
They definitely did.
I can't wait to see. McAfee wasn't on air today, but
He was. I missed. There was something. I saw him. It said the date. He might have went on later than normal today, but he definitely was.
He was Stone Cold stunned last
right.
night at
Dude,
a late
did
hour.
you see him laying down on the
concussed.
ground, still drinking the beer? Like I was like, that's my
he's
spirit,
also the
my
first
spirit
guy.
animal.
He's also the first guy in wrestling history to get counted out by pin after getting a ball punted in his chest.
Yeah, that was a little. That was the only thing I would say that was a little, whatever. Like
McMahon has to get his thing in there somehow. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. And shout out to McMahon for getting excited and nervous about the wrong song. They played Austin Theory's song. And he's like, and then he's like, oh, that's not the right song. and then like, oh, here's the glass breaking. Oh, I gotta get sick.
Not for nothing though. When I'm 7, I want to look like Vince McMahon does now.
Bro,
at my age,
squatting.
and he's 76.
Squatting 1,000 pounds the other day on Instagram. Like,
Wait, was
80.
it really 1,000 pounds?
Yeah.
So
dude.
wait, so Vince McMahon squatted 1,000 pounds.
Yes.
I mean, it was like it wasn't like it wasn't your
you're looking-
prototypical squat up and down. It was like some kind of machine on his belt buckle, and he went down and up.
Vince McMahon puts videos on, bro. If you don't think Vince McMahon works out all
I want
day
to know.
long,
I'm just
bro.
saying 1,000 pounds.
1,000. But he sent it to him at 3 a.m.
So he won a gold medal. He's going to win the world record for the most weight ever.
I'm gonna look it up.
There's
right
some
now,
kind
guys.
of something. It might not be an actual squat, like a squat.
Vince
that
McMahon
you do
did not squat 1,000.
Dude, Alex Hammerstone puts videos of him squatting crazy weight like that and leg pressing crazy weight.
Okay,
like that.
who's this guy? What's he do for a living?
He's a
professional
wrestler. Why am I yawning? Oh,
Is he
that's right. It's the end of the
79?
day. Yeah, well,
Like,
and anyway.
1,000 pounds is a lot.
So night.
Don't forget, he also has a lot of money, and he probably gets the best of the best testosterone.
yeah, he gets
out
those
there.
Bugs Bunny weights where it's like it says 45, but it's really like 10. Come on, there's nobody squatting 1,000 pounds.
We'll see.
But anyway,
we'll show you the
move off
video
that.
after in
That's-
post.
That's
All right.
banter.
Anyway, so night one, obviously, we saw Stone Cold and Owens, right? And that was great. But also, the rumors are true. We called this last week. It wasn't rocket science to figure out that Cody Rhodes was going to be the opponent of Seth Rollins, and in fact, it was. And I'm telling you right now, it delivered. I think that honestly, like you would say, what? Yeah, I know. You would say that this was very we all knew it was going to be Cody. But when those lights went off, that fraction of a second, did any of you guys have this feeling that they were going to do something different?
I thought when the Undertaker said never say never, the gong was going to hit. He was going to come out, and then Cody would have came out after to kind of swerve the crowd.
Okay.
Since they've been swerving everybody for the past couple weeks, making you think he was going to come out on Raw, and then they debuted him at Mania. I thought they were going to swerve.
Perfect debut though. Like that was definitely perfect. Not to release him anywhere. Like I saw a little bit of the behind the scenes stuff with him just being basically being like sat in a bus for 4 hours long, crammed in, and then like you got to throw the hoodie on, the sweatpants on, so nobody could see him.
Too.
Yeah,
That's
they
what
do
he
this
did
with everybody.
To Khabib when fucking Connor was on his rampage, he just hit him on a bus. Connor smashed.
Who won that fight?
That fight, well, they never fought. Khabib hit in the bus. They fought a different time, but that fight,
that's pretty
Khabib
good.
stayed right where he was.
So anyway, so this match delivers. Cody Rhodes looks like he took a couple lumps, literally and figuratively. Like he went. I think there was a little bit of homage to Stardust, in that little cartwheel thing where he just did the star thing, and I think that was hilarious. That was almost like putting it to bed, like saying, like, guess what? Not Stardust anymore. I just hope they don't mess this up. Like I don't think they can mess this up. I mean, I would think that Cody Rhodes is going to be a main eventer now on the Raw brand. I don't know if he's the kind of guy that can go right after Roman or anything like that, but
No,
He could be.
They'll
I have a
rock this
I have a
this
question when you're
feud.
done. Go ahead.
They'll rock this feud between him and Seth Masvidal the entire.
you stop with the Seth
He
Masvidal
looks
thing.
just like fucking George Masvidal.
He looks nothing.
He
like
looks
him.
nothing like
Seth
him.
Rollins looks
And
nothing
here we
like
go.
Jorge
Wait,
Masvidal.
wait for
So
it.
does anybody
Wait
with a
for it.
beard and long hair look alike?
Wait for it. I'm waiting for him to be like, and you know his real name? Like,
No,
the biggest mark things of all times is
he's the one who brought up
describing
the
to
real
me
names.
somebody's real name
All right.
as if we're third
So
graders
I have
and
a
you find
question.
out your
I
teacher's
have a
real name.
question because I feel like this might have been brought up last week on the episode. Is Seth Rollins 0-3 in his last 3 WrestleManias?
We didn't bring that up.
Yes, we did.
You brought that up.
I think it was glossed over maybe in pre, but I feel like they're doing our boy wrong. I feel like Seth Rollins should be getting some dubs out there. On these
we'll see what they do with him here, but
they give him the big matches.
This is a rub. This is a big rub. This is like, hey, Cody's debuting. You're the guy. Like,
and honestly, he got the better of Cody for most of that match.
Rob kept talking. I don't care about who got the better of things. This is who won and who lost, and we're talking about legacy builders and things like that. And like losing 3 in a row,
wins and losses really don't matter.
Are you sure?
I promise you.
But I mean, I guess
you put on a good match. You got Cody Rhodes. Everybody wins.
When we're talking about guys and we're talking about the intercontinental champions of all time, we had these conversations, and we will have one of those conversations about the greatest intercontinental champ ever. But when we're talking about legacies and things like that, when people are talking about Seth Rollins' legacy, they're not going to be able to say he's got 3 losses on his record at WrestleMania. So if he's 6-9,
nah, that's nice. Here's how you know that doesn't matter. Ric Flair has gone out and done interviews, and he said, "Listen, wins and losses don't matter. I've lost 1,200 times, and I've won 16 times.
Yeah, but how many times did he lose at WrestleMania
for his championships?
Right. Wins and losses don't matter. What's Ric Flair's record at WrestleMania? That's the question that I want to know. I don't really
recall him having any wins at WrestleMania. Like, honestly, in later Flair years, lost to Michaels, lost to Taker.
I'm bringing questions to the table because I don't know. I am the casual in this situation, and I could even make the case that I'm not even that.
I'm going to tell you why it matters, why he lost. Not so much that he's 0-3 in the last WrestleManias, right? Because this is, no matter what anybody says, it's AEW versus WWE. And they let him come in there after he just left and disrespect all them when started this whole new thing. And then now comes back with his fucking tail between his legs because it didn't work out over there. And hey, Seth, you're going to be the guy that goes out there and fucking lays down and takes a pin in the fucking ring. And Seth was like, you know what? I'll go down there and lay down, but he's going to have his face was messed up. And his back was messed up. Now you figure he's got to give him a win back. Now, no, Hogan wouldn't give a win back. You think Cody Rhodes is going to give Seth a win back? I don't, bro. Yeah. I really don't. I do. I don't.
This will go on till SummerSlam, and then.
So I'm actually going to tip my cap to Vince McMahon on this one for actually letting his company lay down and take the L, essentially, right? Because it would be a very similar thing, and I know that this isn't the same.
You think Vince is taking a loss in all this?
Well, to the point that I'm making is if you want to equate this into a situation, I understand that, but to like put this into the realm of like pretend like we don't know that it's a script, right? Because that's right. So pretend like we don't know. It'd be the equivalent of like when Dana White sent Chuck Liddell over to Pride to fight in Pride FC, and the UFC's best fighter got knocked out by Rampage. So it's like, you're risking a lot by having a guy from AEW come over and beat the WWE guy right away.
Okay.
In that regard, Vince took an L. I'm saying like shout out to Vince for actually falling on his sword and so to speak, and letting his company, almost take the back seat. Because if there was a little bit of a rub, AEW could be like, our guy went in there and fucking did work.
That's how I
can't believe that like Gooch has come so far.
He's right. But if Cody hadn't been with WWE first, you'd be right, because when they squashed Sting at WrestleMania, that was like the WWE versus WCW
since the dawn of time.
But both companies, like Dusty went back and forth a couple times, and same with Goldust, Dustin. So the whole family. Anyway, the match itself delivers. Cody Rhodes is now in the WWE, so we'll see what they do with it. Hopefully, they don't drop the ball on this one. Night 2 also included AJ Styles and Edge, and before the match even started, it looked like Styles was in a barroom fight. Like, I don't know if anybody noticed, but whatchamacallit, it's his face was busted up, and apparently he got hit with one of the pieces of the sign. So now I'm not hearing it's the pyro. There was like a star, like Dallas Cowboy star, and he got too close to it or some shit. I don't know. He just got his face nicked up before he can even get into the ring.
Sounds like him and the boys had a good night the night before on Friday, and he just had to make up a nice excuse, and it was the Dallas Cowboy star.
But, of course, I have to give, Markism where Markism is due. Right before the match, Rob did say that there was supposed to be some kind of new faction developing. That's what he read within the confines of the internet wrestling community, the IWC, have you. And sure enough, the faction has begun, and it's what the hell's his name? Damian Priest. So we saw the entrance of Edge, fire, flames, great entrance. I think it was actually the best entrance of WrestleMania weekend. I don't know if anybody can compete with that, but I think that, now Damian Priest, who I believe was a lost soul, like, because he was doing his U.S. title run and this, that, and the third, but he really, he wasn't really getting over, I don't think. But this
is his look, really.
The look, I thought his
in-ring work is fine, but his look for him by himself, it's weird. He needs to be in a faction.
So do you think this is like Brood 2.0? Yeah. Do you think they'll name it the Brood?
No.
I think imagine they come out to the Brood theme song tonight. Oh, God, that'd be unbelievable. But they won't, because they just finally moved off on this day. They finally gave it another Alter Bridge song, by the way. So Alter Bridge is cleaning up on Edge theme songs for royalties purposes. But great match, back and forth. A lot of people that I've talked to were kind of disappointed that that's how it ended. Like, oh, he just stared at a guy that was standing on the outside, and that distracted him just enough to have something get done. The match was almost too good to end that way, but it is wrestling. You know what I mean? Like, this is not out of the realm of possibilities, right?
The guy distracted him. He didn't know if he was coming in or not. It was just a distraction.
Unless AJ is going to be a part of the faction too, and that's why they didn't. Why didn't they beat him? They should have beat him down there. Why not just do something?
No, I love that. They should have just beat him down then.
I did, bro. I stood up like a 3-year-old when they stood up. I'm like, let's go, beat his ass. Yeah. Let's go.
And they just kind of walked away, and you should have seen a look of defeat on Rob's face. Just like, where are they going? No fight? What's happening here?
Waste of time.
But it was great. I think the match was good. The ending obviously left to be desired because of the way it ended. But I think it's going to be a cool little faction. I don't know if they had a third man tonight, but they got to do something. I think they have to respond.
Otherwise, it's just a tag team.
Otherwise, it's just a tag team. This guy, he's grown up right before our eyes.
Speaking of tag team, how about those weird tag team rules last night?
Oh, yeah, dude. No, it started with what? What did we see first? NXT. So triple threat tag team matches, 3 reps are in the ring at the same time. I've never seen that before. Usually, like, you get the awkward, like, oh, I'll take. But this makes the most sense, because in regular rules, like, why would I, if I'm my own team, Gooch is his own team, and you're your own team, right? You have a partner, I have a partner, you have a partner. If I'm trying to win the match, why would I ever tag in Gooch?
Right.
So that's why you need a third guy in there, because then you would tag your own partner to come in. But why would I be like, I don't want to be in this match anymore? Gooch, you get him. Like, you go fight Rob. Why? I'm trying to win the match. So
also it's like a preservation thing.
Well, you might never get back in again.
That's what I'm saying. If I tag you in and I'm on the outside looking in,
not
what am I doing?
Process. It's
whoever
it's one pin to a finish.
That's what they should just do, a tornado tag.
But that's how,
like in Lucha Libre.
Yeah.
That was a match that shouldn't have taken place then. That's what you're saying. Rules were written like shit. Come on, Vince.
Questioning the rule book here in 2022, Vince. Come on. But anyway, so moving on. A match that the next 2 matches, I want to go off the cuff a little bit. The next 2 matches we're about to talk about were produced. And if you don't know what a producer is or what his role is, he or she, the role is with WWE. It is, in fact, the role of the producer is to kind of make the match, like, from start to finish. How's it going to start? How's it going to end? How's it going to go double down? When is the heat going to start? There's so many parts of every match that the common fan doesn't know about. The shine, which is basically the babyface going nuts in the beginning, right? And then there's a cutoff. And there's just so many. I'm doing like a pro wrestling 101 right now, but I want to give a special shout out to Pat Buck. He was the actual producer for Ronda Rousey and Flair and Brock and Roman. Nice. So he had those. And then once again, shout out to Pat Buck, who handed over his resignation today to the WWE to go home and be with his family. And I think that when you're a WWE superstar, producer, referee, manager, whatever, your life is completely fucked. Like, you don't get to go home every night to your kids and wife. You don't get to go home to your family. So the fact that he said, I went out there to set out a goal. I wanted to produce a main event at WrestleMania. He did that and said, I'm good.
I mean, you're talking about
that is incredible
juggernauts too, and the Ronda Rouseys, the Brock Lesnar's, Roman Reigns.
Those are 2 incredible matches.
Just to say, the crossover with this show, we have MMA love, we got the wrestling love, and those 2 are just mega stars. Like, I know Rousey kind of lost a lot of her shine, and I talk shit about her as much as I can, but bro, going out like that, it's got to be a dream for anybody. If that's the pinnacle. if you're not going to wrestle at WrestleMania, right?
Right.
Do the Kanye.
And he was a phenomenal professional wrestler. You know, he was always told he was undersized and stuff like that. And they're like, hey, how about being a referee? And he's like, nah, man, I'm a wrestler, you know? And he had great matches. And I got to call those matches, him against Cody Rhodes. You know, I think that actually happened within the last 4 years. So anyway, shout out to Pat, my trainer, the guy who's responsible for me even getting anywhere in professional wrestling. So shout out to him. But as we do that, we segue over to the Ronda Rousey and Charlotte Flair match, which I think it did all right. You know, obviously Charlotte is an all pro, you know, when it comes to this, and Ronda is still rough around the edges in certain aspects. And I don't think
she took off hurt.
Yeah, I mean, she was on a trajectory to do better things in the women's division, but, you know, no fault of her own. She gets pregnant, has a kid, has a family.
Well, I mean, it's kind of her fault.
It stunts her growth a little bit as far as.
Well, I mean, it's kind of her fault. Takes two to fucking make a kid.
Oh, is that how it works?
I think.
Oh, shit. Okay, I didn't know. That's so weird.
When
weird.
Tommy started to talk right there, I was like, we're going to have to fucking edit this. He didn't really go there. I thought he was going to really ruin the whole show.
So this match delivers start to finish. Again, the ending, Flair, it flares it. You know, she cheats. She gets the win out of the way and gets out of Dodge. I think that's the way to do it. Keeps everybody strong. Ronda Rousey still looks like a badass because she looked like she was about to kill somebody after this match. I think that's the way it definitely should have played out. But yeah, great match, start to finish, I think.
Yeah, it needed the dusty finish. It did. Like you said, it didn't hurt anybody. I thought of Chris when Charlotte put her in the figure 8 because I'm like, are they going to make her tap? Because it looked like they were about to make
no way they would ever make Ronda tap.
No, they should have had Holly Holm run into the ring and kick her in the face and just knocked her out instead.
That's how she lost. She got kicked in the face.
Bro,
she did get
got
knocked
out.
Legacy is intact,
great.
Ronda. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Legacy's
So
intact.
that happened. So that match was great. But then obviously last night concluded with Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. Now going into this, everybody was on Roman Reigns is, you know, all of a sudden he was just went to God mode, right? He is. And you know, it's funny. I started to finally come around to Roman Reigns. Like I was like, this guy is talking a good game. He's backing it up with some serious, you know, fire in the ring. And now you're going into a match with the Beast and you're about to unify the belts, right? This is they build it the biggest match of all time. And it was the way it ended. You sent me a picture of what Roman's shoulder looked like for a second. He got locked into a Kimura and Brock wasn't letting go. And that shit was in deep. Like that
it just lands to the point like nobody likes Brock.
I love Brock.
I mean,
you know
like,
what it is?
You get it, but like, come on, bro. You breaking somebody's arm in the fucking ring. Relax, bro.
The crazy thing with the submission like that,
Frank Mir, it's Roman Reigns.
The crazy thing with a submission like that is you could just lightly have it on somebody and their shoulder pops out. It's a strange
He did
thing.
say it was audible on the broadcast. He kept saying it's out. It's out. So like that was rough. Like rough to listen to, rough to see.
It's like I have this shoulder pops in and out constantly, right? If I get put in a Kimura, I can have this thing put all the way to my back and then it won't pop out. Put me in an Americana, come right out.
Yeah, so I guess everybody's built different, but that happens.
It's weird.
The
it's
ending
weird how
is
it happens, but his arm was instantly.
I'm gonna go ahead and think
black
that
and
Brock
blue.
is just a grunt and didn't know how to go light.
No, I don't foresee that.
Yeah, but you know what though?
Everybody's a pro.
Here's why it worked. Roman still won the match, right? You saw him put it back in.
Yeah, I know. It was kind of
and then
visibly
he hits
put
the
it back
spear.
in. It was kind of weird.
And then he hits the spear.
So at what point is Roman Reigns going to start doing movies now? Because you just took out Brock Lesnar on WrestleMania. Obviously, his star is as bright as it's going to be.
He should be
has the
Aquaman at
look
this point.
where somebody said it the other day that he should be. Who said it? Was it you or you?
What?
Somebody said something about Roman Reigns being Aquaman.
He should have been.
He looks like
Aquaman.
Should have been Aquaman. But
I know
you
you guys saw that video
my
of
point
the
being
fan
is
saying
the
that.
trajectory
Right?
for pro wrestlers when they become the world champ and they kind of sustain it for a little bit. You see the John Cena's, you see Rock.
Well,
You know, at what point is this guy? He's got the look.
They tried
Obviously,
that
he's
with him
so handsome.
when they were pushing him as a
Making
face.
sure we're
They
paying
tried that with him, and it made the WWE universe fucking hate him because they were saying that Vince was shoving him down everybody's throats. He was in commercials. And
Yeah, but I'm telling you right now,
understand that,
now's
but
the time
but
to
at a
strike.
certain point,
He-
it's all about making millions.
he
and this
looks his
guy-
best
this guy's
right
gonna
now.
be getting
He's
paid
got
a
his
lot of
best
money to
in-ring-
do other things.
Best in-ring work right now, best promos right now. He's got a strike, and now he's the universal, whatever the hell they're going to call it, the unified
I hope they
champion.
get rid of the brand split with this.
I don't know.
really
I
do.
don't foresee them doing that because I don't know if they have too many wrestlers. people will get lost. It'll feel like the Attitude Era all over again, where guys where you just are going to wind up on Sunday Night Heat. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're just lost. There's too many wrestlers on the roster to only have one brand, I think. I don't personally.
No,
I would love it.
I'm not
Give me a story on Monday and continue it on Friday. I love that.
Yeah,
but
I'm not
I don't think
talking
it's
about getting rid of like SmackDown or anything, but
no. It just, there's not enough. If Raw's a 3-hour show and SmackDown's a 2-hour show, and you're only allowed and allocated a certain amount of matches, like, you can't. There's just not enough. Like, there's not enough, or not enough time to get the key components in, right? Like, if you open up Raw tonight with a promo from Cody, right, and the promo leads to a tag match that goes down on SmackDown, that's 2 spots gone already. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to continue the big names onto the next show. You can't just leave somebody in the back.
Rob, what are your thoughts? Because I have none.
I have a question for both of them. Is who's going to beat Roman? Who do you think they're thinking about to beat Roman?
If you wanted my honest opinion, I think Brock does it.
it's got to be Brock. Yeah,
I think Brock does it at Backlash or whatever the fuck. You know what I mean? Like, I think this is not done. It's not over. You know how WrestleMania is, bro. Nothing ever ends. I don't think there was one match besides the Austin stuff, because it's a one-off, and like, besides those kind of, I feel like every single match is going to be back for Backlash. Or is Backlash a thing anymore?
Yeah, it's the next one.
So
it's funny because WrestleMania was supposed to be billed as
the end all,
the event to end all feuds and begin new ones, but it
just never is the case.
Them.
It's never the case.
You know what? If it works and it makes money,
but it does work in a like when Rock and Cena, right? That was done after.
You could do it with certain things, but it's contingent on the fact that, like, you have these storylines that are impossible. You're not writing a movie. Like, it's a congruent thing. It's always going to be dynamic. It's always going to be fluid. So you might be able to cap one storyline, but just with all the shit you just were talking about, it lends to the point. There's too much going on. How are you going to congruently line up all 80 beefs that are happening in all pro wrestling right now and be like, they're all done here, start new?
Yeah. Well, look, you'll get your new ones tonight. I'm sure, like, you know, I don't know. I don't foresee any of the champions doing something new. Like, maybe they do something with RK. I can almost bank on a complete rematch with the RK Bro. Same teams, same corners, same thing.
So Rob, who do you think's beating Roman?
Right now, you
got to make a new contender, or
like, I don't want to see Bobby Lashley get squashed.
I was just gonna say Bobby Lashley.
Bobby Lashley is a story to go with right now. He didn't lose his title, so technically,
he beat the shit out of Omos, who was
still
untouchable.
His title, yeah. And then he walked in there and beat up Omos. He's the one who deserves it, but I don't want to see him lose right away either, though.
I don't even want to see
him
that.
And Brock still have unfinished business, so maybe a title contention match between the two of them.
Possibly.
I like that. Maybe Brock comes out tonight, says, "I want my rematch," and then dun, and Lashley comes out.
What if Roman Reigns needs surgery or some shit on his shoulder?
Oh shit,
that's another big thing. We'll find out more tonight.
So you're gonna have to set up an interim title. Call Dana; he'll figure it all out. Right?
Uncle Dana, can you fix this, please?
I don't know. He hit that spear pretty good with it last night.
He did, but yeah, there's a lot of adrenaline going. Wake up the next morning, he ain't spearing anybody at 9 a.m. this morning. I can promise you that.
He's not. All right, before we get into the UFC 273, so obviously WrestleMania comes and goes, and obviously it was great. Night 1, night 2, the Hall of Fame, NXT, everything delivers. You become like, if you were just like a on the fringe fan of wrestling and you watch that entire thing, you want more. And like right now, I can't wait to go home and watch Raw tonight. And it's been a long time since I felt that way. You know what I mean? Where I'm just like, I am thriving and just thirsty for something else to happen in the world of professional wrestling.
WrestleMania always drew me back in. I would not watch for years, like during, Raws, SmackDowns, but then I'd watch WrestleMania. And then I'd
bring you right back in. Yeah, hook you right back in. So it's great. There. It's great for the brand. It's great for the Fight Factory. It's great for all of us here at Chop Sports. But before we get into UFC 273 and Chris takes over the show, I do want to say and give a shout out to the Feel Good Factory, which is established in 2017. The Feel Good Factory is here for all your high quality CBD products. All products are manufactured in Long Island, New York, in an ISO 6 clean room. They create everything from creams, gummies, pet products, always third-party tested and curated with quality ingredients. They offer shipping throughout the U.S. and offer curbside delivery on Mondays and Fridays. If you use the promo code CHOPSPORTS, you're getting a whole quarter off, 25% off all products. You can call them, believe it or not, they have a toll-free number, 888-519-1139 today, or visit the website, thefeelgoodfactory.com, or on Instagram at thefeelgoodfactorycbd. And of course, This whole thing wouldn't be possible without Dudes Gourmet. Please, guys, do yourself a favor. Give the big seasoning companies the big FU, okay? Because they've been lying to you for years. What are we doing? We're eating?
He was doing the
You're doing the
Zeke.
Zeke? Oh. That was the Zeke. I like it. They're manipulating the numbers, rounding down the calorie counts, and adding shit that's not even food quality without your knowledge. Dudes Gourmet is the best all-natural seasonings with no additives, no filler, no caking agents, pure flavor. Head on over to Dudes Gourmet right now and choose one of their premier rubs from the espresso rub, everything minus the bagel, Sweet Baby Jesus, a family friend, a favorite of mine, and of course, Pizza Dude's got 30 seconds. You can put Dude's Gourmet on everything, on all your favorite burgers, steaks, seafood, vegetables, anything that needs that extra kick. It's right here, right now, and get free shipping for orders over $50 with the promo code OSHIP. That's capital O. Follow them on Instagram. They have a phenomenal Instagram following, by the way, over at Dudes Gourmet. Gooch. We finally have a UFC card to look forward to. But
Yes,
first,
we do.
First, some updated news on my boy Colby.
Yeah, so Bob Menery went on, I forget which podcast, but it's kind of irrelevant. He spoke at length about the night in question, and obviously the night we're talking about is the night outside Poppy Steakhouse in Miami where allegedly George Masvidal ran up on Colby like the thug that they're claiming him to be, because now there's a couple other things coming out about this where, not so fast. Masvidal's side has some different things to say, but essentially Bob Menery came out and tried to put to bed the rumor that he set up Colby. I think the Nelk boys are actually kind of putting Bob Menery out on a ledge, so to speak. They're putting him on Front Street, where I think Jared was one of the guys that said, I think Bob set him up. So his part of his own team is coming out and saying this. Bob Menery is denying it wholeheartedly, but if you listen to this thing at length, man, it's just hard for me to wrap my head around it. I do think he, in fact, did set up Colby, but the reason why he's in so much denial right now is because there could be possible criminal charges going against Bob Menery if they do, in fact, find a text
accessory
message, because you can't set up a thing like that. Maybe he didn't know how it was.
Now, by doing the Instagram video, is that setting him up?
No.
So how?
Because here's the thing.
So you literally think Menery went on like behind his back and texted him or something?
You're gonna have to watch for yourself because it's a long interview. It's 30 minutes long. The thing that I saw on it was a YouTube cut up, and it was like 17 minutes. I went to the comments of that, and that's usually where you get the best information. Watch the video, but then look at the comments, and you see what everybody's chiming in, and you get to see what the court of public opinion is thinking. And I promise you right now, the court of public opinion fully believes that Bob Menery set up your boy Colby.
I said the same thing.
I would smack that motherfucker to
it.
sleep if that was the case.
Now, when he's speaking on the situation, he makes some good points, and he's saying, we're out in Miami. We go out every single time we go out. We have we're posting where we're at in real time. Colby did share the video, so Colby's just as guilty as that. But the lack of security, just the way it all went down, you're going to have to watch the video. I'm not trying to plug another show or anything like that. I don't even know what show it's on. Google Bob Menery talks about the incident with Colby, and you'll get all about it. But I personally, I'm on the side of, I think Bob Menery is a bitch. I think he's a dry snitch, or at least a snitch, or something of the sort. And while Masvidal isn't a bitch, because he's the one that actually went out there, he lives by a different code. It's curious to find out how this is all going to unfold, because, like I said, Masvidal's side of the story is very different from what Colby's team is talking about. And obviously we're going to get to find out. I think Masvidal gets arraigned, or he has his first court date on like April 21st. So
lock him up, throw away the key.
We'll get more information.
It'd be great to talk to the people that were involved.
And just so you know, obviously I did reach out to the Covington party, and he's not allowed or not permitted until this whole thing blows over. He's not going to do any
I better
press.
not see him on Ariel Helwani.
I mean, Ariel Helwani has a little bit more stroke than we do, but
Fuck him.
I think we're talking about when the reason why they think he still set him up, though, is a lot to do with there was a security guard there, but he wasn't present at the time, and there was some type of weird thing like, why did Bob Menery see the whole thing? And like, he's the only person that
I don't like it. I don't like it. Sounds fishy. I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
I'll send you the link, guys.
Yeah, I definitely want to see that.
I won't send you guys the link, though.
Actually, maybe we'll drop it in the comments to kind of take a look. But anyway, so we finally got UFC, right?
Yes.
So we're back.
So, yeah, put that to bed. We'll talk more about the Bob Menery thing in a little bit. I guess first what we're going to talk about is the Peter Yan versus Jamaine Sterling, and what we guess we could call this a title unification bout. Is Yan the interim title holder right now as of current? Because Jamaine had to pull out of the last fight. I'm asking you, Tommy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it is a unification bout, even though the biggest paper champion in the history of the Ultimate Fighting Championship is Jamaine Sterling. I've been a fan of his my entire fanhood.
Sound like it.
Well, we watched this fight. This was one of the first things that we did as a group, as Chop Sports, when we went. This is our first live.
It was me, you, Jorge.
Well, it was me and you, and we just almost did the same thing. We invited other people to come in with a link, and we watched this fight live over the Facebook Live Facebook group.
That's right.
And it was just one of those things where Jamaine Sterling, obviously, if you're a fight fan, you know what happened.
Rob's struggling over here, by the way.
He faked like he took a knee. He did
took
take
a fucking knee.
He took
Come
a knee,
on.
but he faked like he was knocked unconscious by the knee. He clearly wasn't. Then there was a subsequent pullout and a surgery and a bunch of other things where he seemingly just needed to get all these things fixed, which he probably was injured, but I think he could have fought. He was milking the belt a little too long. As you could see, Peter Yan is now the interim champ. Now, looking at the point spread, the odds of this fight, I'll go around. Tommy, I'll start with you first. How do you think this one plays out?
You know who I'm gonna go with. I'm always gonna pick Aljamain. Come on.
All right, so
Heavy dog.
We're gonna clear the air as to why.
It's definitely gonna be a
Tommy
heavy dog.
trained
Plus
jiu-jitsu.
325.
Tommy
man.
trained jiu-jitsu at Madama Jiu-Jitsu, and that's a sister school of that whole team. Whatever's got going on in Long Island, it trickled its way down to Tom's River. Is it Tommy?
Yeah,
Tom's River, and they have a team, and it's a sister school of the place where Tommy trained at. Me personally, I have no affiliation to any school whatsoever, and I'll call it exactly like I see it. Tommy knows this as well as anybody does. Peter Yan is too good for Jamaine Sterling.
I wholeheartedly agree
You
with
agree.
that.
Rob,
yes.
do you have much on this?
Sterling he hasn't fought since this has happened, right?
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah. So I hope he gets his ass kicked.
Yeah, that's honestly, I echo that sentiment,
That's
Rob, and I
perfect.
couldn't have said it better myself. I was an Jamaine Sterling fan going into this fight, and maybe I can be after, but for this one right now, I need to see this wrong righted, and the only path to victory that you would really see would be Jamaine being able to out wrestle him. He tried in their first fight, and he got mollywopped. He got ragdolled.
Mollywop. That's one of my favorite things.
And we all know that he doesn't have the striking that Peter Yan has, or Piotr Yan has. So we can move past this one. I think it's going to be a fairly easy fight. It might go the distance, it might not, but it's going to be controlled distance, bell to bell by
Next
Peter
next fight, we got friend of the show, Gilbert Burns. He's never actually got back to us, but Gilbert Burns taking on Kamzat.
No, yeah, Kamzat Chimaev. I always thought he was one of Khabib's guys for like the first 6 fights of his career, which all took place in a 1-week span. So I was calling him one of Khabib guys, but he
looks like a Khabib guy.
But he trains it out in Sweden with the Viking folk,
Sweden.
and I just think that breeds a different breed of fighter out there.
He'll kill
Not
anybody.
that the Russians are any different.
He killed me for
but
saying that.
He's like the best of both worlds in terms of people that literally don't give
He's
a fuck.
fucking Chechenian, man.
He's a Chechenian, a Viking, basically. So he is everything that is scary wrapped up into one. And even look at him, man. Gilbert Burns. Now, looking at the way the tail of the tape, Gilbert Burns is a lot bigger than I thought. You know, I was looking at this fight. If you heard me talking a couple weeks back, I was saying that he's just going to be way too big. He's going to dust him. Gilbert Burns is, even seeing them stand next to each other, Burns is put together. Looking at the odds on this fight, I mean, again, I'll go to Dave first this time. Dave.
I mean, look, based off of what I've seen this guy do in his brief career, Burns is going to get murdered, I think. And I like Burns. I really do, but I don't foresee this being close.
I did like Burns
until he blew you off.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't think he
sucks for
blew
him.
us off. I think that's the going rate right now. You could talk about a bunch of these guys.
The going
Look,
rate.
the
How
going rate.
much
To
do
get
you
a
want?
guy, to get a top 5 ranked fighter on the podcast or on the show, you have to pony up sometimes. And this guy wanted a little bit of cheddar to come on the show. So
okay.
right now, we're not quite.
Remember where you came from there, Gilbert.
Maybe he'll come on after the loss to talk about it.
Yeah, after he gets sparked by Kamzat, then maybe.
But no, Gilbert Burns, he's a honestly, I've watched a lot of his interviews in preparation for the fake interview that we were about to do, and he's a cool dude. So it's like I'm a fan of his. Granted, he's trying to get his paper. I understand that, but he's going to have a tough path to the title after getting pounded out. Pause by Kamzat.
You're on a roll today.
All right, so
anyway, the main event of the evening.
So does anybody give a fuck what Rob or I think about this?
No,
or?
not at all. Actually, no. Who do you got in this fight? Sorry, we just we're trying to move it
honestly, no. I'm kidding. Go ahead, Tommy.
Tommy from the
apologize.
corner.
We're just running. We have plenty of time actually.
Okay.
Take out the first 12 minutes of you trying to get the name of the thing right, and we're good to go.
See, I don't know, Dave. You're giving that credence. That
I'm
wasn't
not.
even-
I'm
that
not. I
wasn't
think
even
he's a
funny.
corny mother effer. But go ahead.
That's why I'm here.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, kind of spitballing off of what you
Rob
said.
quits, by the way. He's like, "Fuck this show."
He's falling asleep. He's tired.
I mean, it's been a long day. It's been a long day.
We got to figure something out.
It's the fact that
What's wrong?
Just go ahead.
Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
To you, Chris, do you think in Khamzat's last fight he's shown us enough to get this fight, or are they just giving it to him because?
And they're saying
he's
if he
got
wins,
the
he gets the
team?
title shot, right? That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Well, I think yes. I think right now, if you asked Khamzat who he wants to fight, he'll say anybody. You even listen to him talk about title shots, and he's like, "I have no problem, Conor, getting a title shot." This sounds like a guy that's very confident, and we're even going to talk about a little bit about destiny. He is Viking, right?
Mhm.
So like a pagan fuck.
I mean,
now.
he hasn't been hit yet,
but
which is
the point
impressive.
being is he seems like very confident on the path that he's headed towards, and that he will one day be the champion, and one day he's going to fight Usman. He has a firm understanding as to how the business works, and he also knows that he's probably been offered to every single guy in the top 10 on his way towards this fight. And most of these guys are turning this fight down. Nobody wants to fight him. And you know, he had the bout set up with Leon Edwards, and then the COVID thing took place. So not through no fault of his own, he hasn't been able to fight. Every time you see this guy go out there, he completely walks through his opponent. And to the point that I was originally trying to make, I think if you ask a guy right now who's trying to steal the other person's shine, right now Khamzat has the shine. So Gilbert Burns needs this fight to get back into the title conversation.
And you know, it's funny. The only name that's coming out of Gilbert Burns' mouth is not Khamzat. It's Colby.
Really?
Yeah.
Fun. Good times.
Well, I mean, I'm sure he's talking plenty about Khamzat, but right now Colby is the name that's
No,
going to get the headline.
all the quotes for Gilbert have just been about how Colby messed up. You know, it should have been me that he was fighting, and then not fighting Masvidal. Like
Lamberger. You know, some French fries with
Well,
that.
yeah, that's what had the American top team, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so makes sense.
Is this his toughest fight to date?
Khamzat?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
100%.
Oh, yeah.
By
100%.
far.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah. I couldn't even tell you one name of one other guy he's fought. Like I
Wait,
can,
no, his
I
last fight
can-
was supposed to be.
it was well, he's had bouts that were supposed to be set
who
up.
the hell was
it
his
Bilal
last fight? He
Muhammad
walked right through.
It was a guy that he had no business fighting. Not Neil Magny. He's the only guy that I've heard that actually wanted to fight.
No, it was a
Khamzat.
name. It was a decent name for him.
I don't remember.
Couldn't have been.
Didn't he
that
fight the guy
decent.
in back-to-back? The guy who fought like back-to-back days or something, or like 4 days in a row?
No, that's basically him. Was it? That
Oh.
wasn't Kevin Holland.
No, somebody with a computer.
So Khamzat's last this is going to bring up this. But who's it? Khamzat's last fight?
Khamzat Chimaev.
Dun, dun.
Last fight. Well, then carry me through this as I look it up, you
All
jerk
right,
off.
so,
Like,
so you think that after this, he definitely should get the title shot?
I think it depends on what. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know that unless they give it to somebody like a Conor, which I can't imagine happening. But yeah, like you really want to see Usman against anybody else? Let's look
Jing
at that.
Liang?
Janglang.
Him.
Janglang.
And actually, let's talk about this.
Submission
because
victory.
Let's talk
Is that
about
what you're talking
this.
about?
I think we've all glossed over this fact, and I'm not going to talk too much about it, but I'm pretty sure that Leon Edwards and Usman is a done deal, and it's just a matter of when they get the date because Usman had surgery. I'm pretty sure that Usman and Leon Edwards is a done deal. It's just that they don't have like a venue or a date until
I don't know,
Usman
but-
recovers.
You know the venue? Fight night fucking Albuquerque at 12 o'clock in the afternoon, because that is not a pay-per-view that'll sell.
Well, he's a champion, so yeah, it will sell.
Well,
So,
first of all, I think Kamaru Usman.
I don't agree with it. I'm just saying it.
You
it
show
will
me a
sell.
fight, Khamzat maybe, but you show me a fight that with Usman in it right now that's going to sell. Besides Conor, or like Khamzat, I guess you could say Khamzat would sell, but Khamzat's got an opponent, and right now, who do you give Leon Edwards to? I'd say eventually you're going to have to get into a situation where the guy that's on an 11-fight win streak gets a title shot. Are you going to jump the line again with a guy like a Khamzat? He doesn't deserve it over Leon Edwards. You have to agree with that.
I do.
So at a certain point, unless it's Conor, that's the only money fight that I could see taking Leon Edwards off the table. Khamzat, there's plenty of fights out there. A Khamzat against a Colby fight would kill just as much as the Usman fight, and then you get to get Khamzat twice because I think, or Colby again. You know, let them two fight in a title eliminator.
That would at least be fun banter between those two, because Khamzat likes to talk shit too.
Yeah.
And it also puts Colby in a situation where if he loses to Khamzat, then he could fight his boy Gilbert Burns right here. And that'll be a perfect little trifecta. It'll all be lining up at the same time.
You should
I like
book
it.
these things. All right. Speaking of booking things, last time, the last match or fight of this night is the Korean Zombie against Volkanovsky. Heavy favorite. Minus 750. My God, it's like what they're not giving the Zombie
while this
any
is
much of a chance
this
here.
is an interesting fight because the Zombie has he's literally is what it says he is. He's a zombie. He could take a beating and he could knock somebody out. He has some highlight reel knockouts, but he's been put down a couple times in his career as well. Just a game opponent, a good fill-in for Max. But nothing really about this fight excites me. Volkanovski's shown that he's really strong in there. He used to be 380 pounds rugby player. So anybody that knows anything about Volkanovsky knows you're going to have to fucking hit him with a sledgehammer right between the eyes to take this dude out. I don't think the Zombie has one. I don't think he has a sledgehammer.
He probably doesn't. He's not Triple H, like these are things you don't have.
So it's unfortunate.
Something
while
that we
we're getting
glossed
a
over.
great card and just a pay-per-view finally, like we've been kind of starving since the Colby fight for a really good UFC. It really hasn't been that long. I'm being maybe a little bit
3
greedy
weeks.
when it comes to this.
Almost
but
a month.
Yeah.
Feels
So
longer.
it's about that time. Maybe we're just spoiled with better fights, but this card, while I'm excited about some of them, mainly the Khamzat thing to see what he could do with a top flight guy, but the other fights, I mean, they're just lopsided. There's not really too many
this is
fights
minus
I'm looking
That's
at. Like,
incredible.
I will be shocked if Zombie upsets Volkanovski like big time. I'm not betting on any of these fights because the lines are all too big.
Right.
So Volkanovski, I think, is going to steamroll.
Yeah,
Zombie.
This
in
won't be
one.
close. I don't think it's gonna be
Tommy?
close.
Can you believe that out of all the years that Zombie's been in the UFC, he's been there a long time.
Yeah,
right?
but he left for war, didn't he?
He's only had 10 fights.
Or he didn't leave
In
for
UFC.
war. I say war.
No,
left-
he has to
go to
do
war.
times of service.
He had to go to
for-
the army and like train for his country.
Yeah,
So
no, he had
wasn't in
times
war.
of service.
Right.
But he's been in the UFC since the WEC evaporated. That was it. And he's only had 10 fights. That's
Wow.
how many times he had to keep going away to go to war.
Yeah.
Crazy. Well,
And we end the show with that fun fact. About the
yeah,
Korean
that was
Zombie and his,
it's gonna be a phenomenal card for sure.
I couldn't give you what I think is going to happen because as much as I want Zombie to win, the way Volkanovski dispatched Aldo and Holloway.
Yeah, but I think he lost the Holloway fight.
So we'll see. It goes
So that's
down
that.
this Saturday night for UFC 273. And obviously, if you're watching this, if you're watching this, you know that WrestleMania Raw the day after already happened. So hopefully something cool happens and comes out of that we'll be able to discuss next week on the show. Remind me right as soon as we end this to pitch an idea to you about this show in particular. And it's a good idea.
Is it like to start it 3 hours earlier?
Yes, that too. That 1,000%.
Because I am
as
fading fast,
Tommy,
my friend.
Tommy could work remote.
Tommy looks at us like,
What about me? What about the Raven? All right. Anyway, so with that being said, for Dave Sturcho,
No,
Chris
whoa.
Gucci-
Before we go, put my graphic up, please, Chris.
I don't know.
There is a Hall of Famer who needs to be talked about every week on this
Hall
show.
of Fame is
Wait,
over.
excuse
don't
me.
have it
I
up.
got rid of it.
Are
I got rid of
you
it.
kidding me?
I got rid of
damn
it.
Well,
Is he in
he
the
got
Hall
rid of
No.
it, but I'll tell you in this camera right here. 1995 Gimmick of the Year, Hall of Famer, the Chart Buster, the original Stunner, the Disco Inferno will be in the Hall of Fame 1 year. Las Vegas, we're working on that. Don't worry, they forgot about you. I won't. We will be there one day. Remember
Love
who
it.
said
Rob
it
is joining the
first?
show, ladies and
Yeah.
gentlemen, by the way.
I
He
think
woke
what
up
we
for
should
that
drive
one.
for this year is Chris Gucci versus Pat McAfee at WrestleMania.
Hey, listen, we could shoot for that too, bro.
I think Chris would dominate.
Why
right, Chris?
why am I being left out of this? I'm the
Well, you're
former
gonna-
fucking
you're gonna
wrestler.
retired.
You're gonna announce.
You retired.
Don't worry.
Are you gonna come out of retirement?
I tell
Don't
you
worry,
what, man.
Dave, I'll hit you with a
I tell you,
fucking chair.
I tell you what. Over the last couple days, there's been a lot of thoughts. There's been a lot of thoughts, and I would never actually just come out and say that I want to do it again. But I kind of want to.
But you know what? No.
Kinda wanna take a bump here and
never
there,
say
you know,
never.
like, I don't know.
Never say never.
Never say never.
I
Good night,
still
everybody.
I still think that we need to set up a ring
Right in the middle of the fucking
somewhere.
Yeah, no, right
Right?
here, outside
I
the
would
back.
At the
love-
Chop Sports BBQ.
There you go.
I got to check with the
Parks Department, Parks
They won't
Recreation.
even let us have a
Gentlemen.
bounce house there. They're not going to let us set up a fucking
Piece
wrestling
of
ring.
shit. All right. Well, anyway, we're out of here. We're
Yeah.
calling it a day. We'll see you guys next week.